The funeral had barely ended. The soil was still damp on Harold's grave, when she looked at me like I was an old, broken piece of furniture in a room she'd already stopped visiting. We stood alone in the parking lot, gray skies overhead, black umbrellas scattered, silence hanging heavy. She didn't shed a single tear. Instead, she calmly lit a cigarette, her hands steady, and said, "I want a divorce." Just like that, no emotion, no build-up, like she'd practiced the line 1,000 times in front of her reflection. I blinked, not from surprise, but because I'd seen it coming. Her love had vanished long ago. I had become a placeholder, a bridge she no longer needed. Still, I asked, why? She took a drag, the smoke curling around her words as she said, "You're of no use to me anymore." I let out a hollow laugh, the kind that rises from somewhere deep and numb. "Don't come to regret this," I murmured, then walked away toward the car. I slid on my sunglasses and never once glanced back. 3 days later, the truth surfaced. She had inherited $379 million. Suddenly, everything fit. The pieces locked together like an old clock springing to life. Harold had always disliked me. He never said it aloud, but his eyes told the story cold, judging, convinced his daughter deserved more. To him, I was a stain on her perfect world. No prestigious job, no grand ambitions, no impressive name, just a man who loved her too much while she barely tolerated me. Now, with her father buried and gone, the charade ended. She had no reason to pretend anymore. That night, I returned to my apartment, a bare mattress, boxers stacked like tombstones, air thick with silence. She had already changed the locks at the house we shared for 7 years. No call, no message, just a wall of quiet. I stared at the ceiling, not bitter, not broken, just awake. She hadn't left me for someone else. She'd left me for freedom. And freedom, it turns out, came in the form of court filings and a checkbook. I didn't rage. I started digging her timing, the speed of the divorce, the inheritance. It didn't sit right. Harold was a control freak to the core. The man wouldn't give away a dime without rules attached. So, I called his lawyer Samuel FTH, an old-school type. Silver suit, manicured charm, eyes like weathered marble. "Sorry," he said smoothly. "The will is sealed. Only the heirs may view it." Fair enough. I waited, not like a man chasing a second chance, but like someone watching a spider spin one too many threads. I started collecting dad emails, transaction records, whispers in the digital ether. She hadn't waited long. She was already moving money, new bank accounts, real estate inquiries, private spending. The divorce was barely dry, and she was already talking to yacht brokers and attorneys, but the crack in her plan came from her sister, a voice memo, buried on an old iPad she'd forgotten to erase. "He doesn't know," her sister said. Dad made it sound like she'd get it all. "But there's something more." Her voice trembled. She always quivered when she lied. I played the recording 12 times, and then again once more for the silence between her words. A week later, Samuel called. This time, his tone had changed. "Come to the office, say nothing, bring nothing." I went. She was already seated, legs elegantly crossed, nails painted a deep, sharp red. Her smile was velvet over steel. Then Samuel opened the folder, coughed once, and glanced toward me. "Before we continue," he began, laying a document on the table, "have you reviewed the will thoroughly, Mrs. Langford?" She looked confused. Something in her face twitched. He turned the page slowly with gloved fingers. "Because there's an amendment, added a month before Harold passed. It states that if you are still legally married at the time of inheritance, your husband becomes the sole executor of the estate." Silence, absolute, cold, surgical. "What?" she whispered. Samuel didn't respond. She snatched the papers, and for the first time, her hands trembled. I didn't flinch. I didn't grin. I simply watched the blood drain from her face, like wax sliding off a candle. Outside, I followed her back into the parking lot. She turned, panic in her eyes. "He didn't tell me." "This isn't." "He couldn't have." "He did," I said calmly. "You filed for divorce 2 days too early." She stopped. Her mouth opened, but no words came, just shaky breaths. "You tried to bury me with him," I said, stepping in close. "But Harold was crueler than you thought. You tricked me." "No," I said coldly. "You underestimated me." She turned, fury rising behind her glassy eyes, tears welling. But I was already walking away toward my car, toward quiet. The will was ironclad. She got nothing. And I, the man once dismissed as useless, now held every cent in trust. She called. I never answered. She emailed. I never replied. Letters came. I ignored them all. I gave $50 million to Women's Shelter Zunder, her maiden name. I let her legacy write itself. Today, she still lives in that condo she rushed to buy the day after the divorce. The one paid with a check that bounced. As for me, I live simply. No limelight, no luxury toys, just peace. Because real power isn't in what you hold onto it is, in what you refuse to take back when they on their knees, begging for another chance. She regrets it now, but regret, like love, came too late.